Titus. Hello.
Hello. Good to be here. Thanks for having me on.
If you couldn't tell, I was just laughing this whole time. So I guess that's a good start. I guess your first audience was pretty good. Thanks for joining us here. You have a show tonight at the Comedy Connection.
Yes, Comedy Connection, right?
You're on this national tour, but welcome to New England. You were just in Boston. You're in Providence tonight, and then you're off to New Hampshire and Maine. What are your thoughts on New England so far?
I love it. You know, Boston. We had a standing ovation in Boston last night, and the show's kind of political. It's about what's going on in the world right now. Talking about politics right now, America is like trying to organize an interracial hoedown in 1840. It's really like you can't. It's just like no one wants to. Everyone's argue and punch each other. So I wrote the show to try to bring the country together, and it's all about politics, which is the hardest thing I've ever written. But I love. You know what I love about you guys in New England? You guys are binary. Like California, everyone's full of crap. Honestly, you guys here are like if you're loyal. You got someone's back.
It's true.
If you like somebody, you got their back 100%. You'll take a bullet for them. If you don't like them, you will shoot them. And it's ones and zeros. That's what I like it. I know where I stand all the time. That's what I like.
That is very true.
It's like hanging out with a whole state full of people, a whole area that are just like my dad. You know?
It is. New England is very unique and very loyal and very interesting. I'm not from here, and you adapt quickly. So maybe.
Where are you from?
I'm from Seattle.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So this is way different.
Yeah.
Seattle's a lot of like, oh my gosh, okay, it's all right.
It
rattled you, didn't it, when you got here?
Yeah. Well, I moved from Texas too, so that was a quick adjustment. Quick adjustment.
So you're schizophrenic, right?
Yeah,
you went from Seattle to Texas. That had to rattle you.
Yeah, you learn to adapt. You learn to adapt. So you have your show tonight at the Comedy Connection.
Yes, I do.
Should be fun. Yeah. So you're talking about politics, but your comedy, you're kind of known for taking from pop culture to what's going on, but also
and my family.
Yeah, from your life.
Right.
So what can people expect tonight?
Well, basically to bring the country together, one drunk audience at a time. Basically, imagine this. Imagine I was going out to unite the country and just going to the place where the people are the most hammered, because I think that's when they're most ready to hear a new idea.
All right.
The whole point of the show is because I'm an independent, I'm in the middle. I believe in the death penalty, but I also believe that if you get convicted of the death penalty, they should put you in a penalty box and you should be beat to death by hockey players. That's what I think. I have different plans, but if it's a lethal injection, it should be organic and gluten-free. That's what I think. Okay. So I'm trying, because someone on death row might have an allergy. You don't know. They could just be sitting there and they're like, hey, my last meal was supposed to include a Claritin. You don't know.
All right. So true, though, right? So true. So let's talk a little bit about that. Because
it's actually not true. It's a joke. Relax. How am I making you nervous?
But it is.
I'm making her nervous.
But it's true right now, though, and that's what I kind of want to talk to you about. Like, how do you because right now people are so sensitive, and it is such a charged time, and you are talking about politics, and you are talking about what's going on and whatever it is that people how do you.
Well, here's a problem. I got upset. I didn't want to write the show because people go, "What are you reading about comics?" We're like, "Dude, don't do it. It's gonna piss people off." I'm like, I have to. It's like I had to. I got mad at my country because I love everybody in the country and I travel all over. We were mad at each other over these idiots. Like half of us wanted this arrogant pantsuit wearing robot. I call her She-3PO. And why was she wearing those square jackets? Was she running as Lego Hillary? What was that? Does she have a stylist? I'd like to look like I'm in a box all the time. Then I like some giant buttons, so I also look like Flavor Flav in a box. Can we do that? So is that, and then we had this other. Then the other half wanted this arrogant orange delusional rodeo clown, and that's why we were mad at each other. And
everybody just hates each other.
I know, over that. Over these are literally the people we've known Hillary forever, so we know everything. And then this new guy, we've known him forever. It's like if we just get a good leader, we wouldn't hear about this guy. How do we have 400 screw ups in 300 days? The only people happy are Charlie Sheen and Lindsay Lohan because he beat their record. So the problem with this show is that I had to do it. It has to be honest, right? I couldn't just say, hey, Hillary's just as bad. Because she wasn't. People go, I just didn't like her. Really? Well, I hate my plumber too, but my house doesn't smell like shit. So, he's really, the plumber's really a prick. I'm not making it up. He honestly,
you can call him. I'll text him right now.
And he charges me way too much, but the plumbing works.
But it works.
Right,
so
exactly.
it's fine.
Right, exactly.
Oh my goodness. But how do you perform, and how do you know that your comedy is working right now when everybody gets offended about everything?
I actually
how do you make it work?
I do one Obama joke in it too, and it's weird because the liberals will tighten up.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about Black Jesus.
Is it okay if we can laugh?
It's Black Jesus, don't we? But I do a joke about pulling out of Iraq. Just walking away. I mean, we spent $3 trillion and just walked away. Can we at least leave Paul Blart here, please? A couple of yard ladies from my high school just to watch things while we're out here. And that's how ISIS got in. So, but Obama was like, well, George W. signed a treaty that we had, and we're going to honor that treaty. It's the first time in history as a country we've ever honored a treaty, but we have to because I'm the black guy. That's how he is. He had to honor it because he was the first black president. So I go after everybody, but I will lecture the audience. I think a good comic reacts to the moment, what's going on. And if people are pulling out, I stop and I go, hey, if you guys laughed at one Obama fried chicken joke, you're going to laugh at some Trump jokes tonight.
Yeah.
That's how we become we again. Because what they did this year more than ever is they split us up into us and them. Democrats versus Republicans, Republicans versus Democrats, and everybody forgot it was we the people, because everybody thinks something about someone who doesn't agree with them politically. Everybody, right? Am I right? Right? Every conservative is just a 4-wheel truck driving, sister screwing redneck, and every liberal eats kale salad at the butt of his boyfriend. Am I right? Drizzled in raspberry balsamic. You all right?
And if you can't laugh at a stereotype, then maybe you just shouldn't laugh.
But people really think that, and so I do this. There's a bit in the show I do where I do a liberal doing an impression of a conservative and a conservative doing an impression of a liberal, and it's weird because after that bit, everybody kind of lightens up and they're like, oh right, yeah, we do think that, and everybody forgot that we're one country, and everybody forgot, and so that was the whole show. The whole point of that was that, and I have a new movie out too.
Yeah, so do you want the special unit movie? Do you want to talk about that?
Whatever you want to talk about. You run the interview.
Well,
I'm running you right now, and it's weird.
I'm
actually running it. I'm here interviewing.
I know.
She went from Seattle to Texas, and now she's here in New England. How are you doing?
No, we're not going to do that. Let's talk about what is that the movie I have to talk about movies. So what would you like to talk about?
I directed a movie. I wrote and directed a movie. It took me 10 years to get it made, and it's called Special Unit. Due to the Fairness and Disabilities Act, the LAPD has to hire 4 handicapped undercover detectives, and I play Nick Nolte's mugshot. I play the worst cop in LA. He's a raging alcoholic jerk. He uses the word retard, and it's funny because people were like, the distributors were like, using these words. I go, yeah, but the only way to set this. I'm a huge fan of Mel Brooks. Imagine if Mel Brooks directed Lethal Weapon with handicapped people. So that was the whole and Peter Farrelly helped me actually. Peter Farrelly gave me notes. Guy. Yeah, he's a really good dude. He gave me notes on the movie, and he made me rewrite 80 pages. So I haven't met him because I want to fight him, because after he made me write 80 pages, but I did it. Without him doing that, it would have not been as good of a movie. So and it's out right now on iTunes and Apple TV and Google Play and Amazon. It's really funny.
What I think is so interesting about that is that you really made a point that you wanted to give people with disabilities starring role in this movie, and you really wanted to make a part. Why was that so important to you?
I have friends who are disabled and they're comics. A friend of mine who lives out here on the East Coast, Michael Aronin, very funny comic, and he has 3 jobs. He works for the government on ICE, and he works and he's a public speaker and a comedian, and he's just the greatest guy and really funny, really smart, but he's got cerebral palsy and he's knurled up, and people make fun of him or they ignore him in public, and or they talk to him like he's a puppy, which is even way worse. Yeah, how are you doing today? He's like, I'll punch you in the face if I get straighten out my arm. And so and I have friends that are disabled, Deborah Carrington, and she's a little person, and I just wanted. Hollywood has this thing where Hollywood talks a great game about the disabled. Hollywood's like, you know what, man? We love the disabled. Let's put them in. And then put them in. They go, well, we couldn't find an actor that good. Well, the problem is it's a circle now. If you don't hire a disabled actor, they don't get the experience to become good actors, so they never get put in anything. So you can never find a good disabled actor. And then Brad Pitt's a guy in a wheelchair, which is just offensive to anybody who's disabled. So I wanted to use him, and we did. And here's the weird thing. We filmed the movie, and I got about 3/4 of the way through it, and Tobias Forrest is in a wheelchair. He plays Mac, and he's at kind of this conspiracy nut guy, ex-military guy. And we were filming. There's a funny school shooting in the movie. That's right. There's a funny school shooting in the movie. Sorry, 3 words that don't go together.
No.
So here's what happened. So I forgot they were disabled. He was in the wheelchair, and he's doing wheelies across the stage. We had to go speak at a school, and I go. What the hell is going on?
Construction.
Okay.
They're supposed to be done.
This is a great time. By the way, here's what I love about New England. You don't hear this anywhere else. Hey, get it, just in the distance. Get that boy, baby. It's just like this weird.
But
it's like it's a definite East Coast accent.
Oh,
hey,
Rhode Island accent and Massachusetts are different accents too.
Yeah. I know. It's in freedom from the West Coast. It's harder for us to determine them. Do you get it now?
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
Can you do it? Can you do it?
Maybe.
Come on, give me a yellow one.
Nope.
Matt, what's the difference?
Keep talking about your movie.
What's the difference between Massachusetts and Rhode Island? What's the difference?
There's 2 different states. There's a lot of different.
Okay, thank you. I went to California public schools. She just explained that those are 2 different states.
Stick around a little bit longer, and you'll find out the difference.
Thank you. I know.
You'll find out a lot of differences. Rhode Island has a lot better food.
Are they rivals? Are they rivalry type things?
No. We have better food.
Really?
Yeah, we have a lot better food.
All right, I'm glad you nailed that down.
Trust me, we have a lot better food.
So what was I going to say about the movie?
Okay,
disabled people.
So you can get it on iTunes. I watched the trailer.
Right.
It's really, really funny.
But did it rattle you a little bit?
No, but it didn't at all, especially now that I know the background
right.
and that this is something that you've been working on for a really long time. And I find it fascinating that you self-wrote, self-produced, self-directed, and it's through your own studio as well. And I just find that so impressive.
Sounds like a psychological problem, doesn't it? Like you had to do it all.
Kind of. But I think the fact that you worked so hard to make this a possibility, like you made it happen, which I think is a true testament to yourself and to the mission. I think that's really neat.
You wanted to prove, I think everything I do has got to be funny first, but unless it has a bigger point to it, there's no point in doing it, really. I mean, just to be lame.
Pretty cool.
You can be lamely funny, but funny first. But I mean, if I wanted, it's funny because it would be so easy to write a very hallmarky movie where there was a big point made, but I'd rather make a point without making a point. Funny, because what I didn't want the people that were like already on the side of the table. Those people, they're already preaching to the choir. I wanted the guy that walks past a group of disabled people and just goes and makes fun of them. Like, our president, who's in the credits of the movie, by the way. He's actually the opening credits. We did it before, during the election. We were editing it, and there's that scene where he makes fun of the disabled guy, and there's the opening credits are this montage of, like, all this weird, old disabled film and stuff, like what people used to think of disabled people. And for some reason, one of the guys goes, some people can even be president. And we have him going, it was perfect. It was like this weird joke that we thought was going to be dead because he wasn't going to get elected, and now he got elected. So, I'm happy for that one reason, that we actually get to mock him in this movie.
There you go. Have you gotten have you gotten support? Have you gotten any pushback?
I've had both. I've had a lot of people. It's all 5-star reviews right now, but I had. Here's the thing: people make words really important. There's a word we use. My character used the word retard in the movie, and he calls them retards, and he calls them wobblies, but that's part of the show. I've kind of made my character an amalgam of all the jerks in the world.
Yeah.
And I got someone it was a disabled writer, sent me this horrible Facebook post. And I got an argument. I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's duke it out. Let's talk about it. Yeah. And these are people that are always complaining that handicapped people aren't used in movies. They aren't used in movies. And I said, I gave 15 handicapped people jobs in a film. And it got shut down pretty quick. The problem is when you hit people with, here's the great thing about, I love social media. When you hit people with facts and the truth, they eventually just unfollow you because they can't keep up, or they delete their tweet, delete their tweet because they don't look stupid. So it worked out. At the end of the day, I've had some people write me that had disabled children, and they were like, "Thank you for this movie." My son, who's 15, watched it. He's in a wheelchair. He laughed his butt off the entire time, and they win at the end. They win. I get it. The bad guys get me, and they win. They save me, and I did it. I didn't do it imaginary. I used their disabilities to their advantage.
That's awesome.
Special unit, yeah, it's really funny.
That's awesome. So you can get it on multiple platforms, which is great. So you can go out, you can see it.
And please go see it because I owe my investors.
We owe some money there. We owe them some money.
Help me.
Let's talk a little bit about some of your comedy specials. You've been going at this for a long time.
Since I was 19.
A long time.
She sees the crow's feet.
A long time. Well, I always find it fun to talk to comedians, obviously, because I get a laugh out of it. It's entertaining, but I find it interesting. How do you keep coming back to it? How do you keep finding the inspiration? Because it's not easy. How do you keep being able to put yourself either out on stage or making specials or whatever it is? How do you keep finding either the inspiration or the motivation to keep doing it?
My dad raised me really blue collar. It's my job. I chose to be a comedian and be funny. So I think it's just this. I have to. It's my job. You know, it would have been easy. I could have kept doing Norman Rockwell's Bleeding, the first special I wrote. I could have kept doing that for 10, 15 years. But I was watching, George Carlin was like in his late 50s or at that time, and he put out like 3 specials in 4 years. And I remember thinking, oh, that's what you're supposed to do. So I made a decision after my TV show got canceled that I'm going to do a special every 18 months. And, you know, and it's always got to be about, I just got to figure out what it's about. The next one after this is called Stories I Shouldn't Tell. It's the darkest stories of my life. That when I started comedy, I wasn't good enough to make these funny. They're pretty dark. Darker than Norman Rockwell, actually. But I will make it funny.
Do you feel like people can really draw from that? Because people go through hard stuff, and you're known for sharing your life with people. Do you feel like have people reached out to me and been like, look, man, you've helped me get through tough times?
Yes, I call that the bonus. So like, you know, everybody come up to me and they'll be after my show. I always sign. Like tonight, I'll be signing stuff and taking pictures after the show. People come up to me and they go, and they always come up the same way. They're never like, some people go, dude, really funny, great show. And I go, thanks, and I sign, and they walk away. And other people walk up, they're like, hey, I just got to say something to you, man. So my brother and I were living with my mom, and she was dating this guy who was a crackhead, and we saw Norman Rockwell's Bleeding, and it changed our lives. And I don't know what to do. I want to hug him and go, I'm so sorry you were raised by a crackhead. Uncle Crackhead, your mom was dating Uncle Crackhead, sorry. And it made people think. So that's the bonus. And same with Love is Evil, which is like people, I have a letter they keep in my drawer next to my bed that where, just because whenever I get my head gets really big, you know, after this interview, I'm going to be really cocky, and I have to go read this letter.
I was so good in that.
You were so.
I made that girl laugh so hard.
So the letter says this guy came to the show. Actually, I did the show. It aired on Comedy Central. I asked Comedy Central to air Love is Evil on Valentine's Day, and they did. And about 2 months after, this guy shows up at my show, and he just hands me, he goes, can I give you a letter? And I said, yeah. And he hands me this letter. I go, do you want me to read it now? And he goes, no. And I thought, anthrax, oh God. and he leaves, and I read the letter, and it says, 3 months before Valentine's, I was going to propose to my girlfriend on Valentine's Day. 3 months prior to that, she had broken up with me. I had lost my house. This was after the economy crashed. I lost my house, I lost my job, and I was living in my parents' basement. And he goes, I had decided on Valentine's Day to kill myself. And he goes, I was sitting in my downstairs at the TV in the basement. I had a bottle of wild turkey and a gun. And I sat down on the remote control. I had been watching South Park the night before, and it turned the TV on, and your special had started. Wow. And he goes, I started drinking, I started laughing, I started crying, kept drinking, and I realized if you could get through that relationship, I don't have to kill myself. And I keep that in my nightstand. And my biggest fear is, God, hope my next special's that good. But I guess I won't get those letters. I love that you see. I don't mean to be. It's just my dad raised me, and I just say things. You don't get to laugh and shake your head. Take a stand. You laugh or shake your head. Pick a side, for God's sake.
I mean, that's so powerful, and I think that's pretty cool. Humbling that, I mean, I think that's pretty humbling, too, that you are, like, you've been through all of this, you've had this success, and that you're humble enough to...
And ruined it, and also lost a TV show.
And whatever, everybody, like, TV shows come and go.
Yeah, right? But just don't take the comedian to the meeting with the network president. Don't take the guy who deals with hecklers all the time. And when the network president has something bad to say, I'm like, hey, where are you from? I don't go to where you work, and I just started going off. I didn't swear at her, but I did. Yeah, it's the one regret I have in show business, honestly.
Well, if you don't have regrets, then you can't learn from it, right? Like you can't learn from your mistakes, right?
What? Yeah, but it was a $10 million mistake.
So what did you learn? What did you learn from you had a TV show that was successful, and then it got canceled. Yeah. So what did you learn?
In a meeting now, I go like this. That's a good idea.
Smile and nod.
I like that. You know what? We're gonna sit down with the writers and see if we can work that out, because that's oddly brilliant. That's what I learned. It only cost $10 million.
It costs $10 million. Do you feel though, do you feel like your comedy transfers from what you do to TV, to network TV?
Yeah, I'm writing a script right now. It's two different disciplines. Comedy is like you have to be funny every 11 seconds. You have to have a punchline. It's sentence, punchline, sentence, punchline. TV, you have a little more time, but you can't just toss on a character. You have to build a character. So when I write, I get a Writers Guild nomination for Titus, and I love. It's a lot harder than weirdly enough, writing a TV script or a movie script is so much harder because there's so many different tendrils. Comedy, you can just go off on a tangent and come back. Script has to have a flow and stuff, so it's two different disciplines. But yeah, I think everything translates. I mean, we took Norman Rockwell's Bleeding and turned it into Titus.
Yep.
And you know, special unit. I wrote a bit called The Word Retard. You can go on my website or I go on my YouTube channel. The Word Retard, where I totally changed the meaning of the word retard. We did that, and we did a scene about that in the movie, in the credits. So yeah, I think it's possible. You just have to. It's just a lot more involved with the script because you have to. It has to be based. It really has to be grounded in reality. You can be wild, but it has to be grounded in reality.
Before I let you go, because
by the way, nothing less funny than talking about how comedy works.
No, but it is. But it's fascinating, right?
Is,
and I like having conversations.
I
like having the conversations because I don't think anybody really understands how it works, and to be able to pick people's brains a little bit, I find it fascinating. I don't think I could never even come close.
Comedy or writing a script?
Both. I think it's
way too challenging. This is hard too. You have to be on your feet all the time, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You have a tendency, I think a lot of people when they sit down and write, they think, I have to be perfect right now. But no, I actually give myself, when I start writing, I give myself permission to suck.
That's good.
And then you just write crap for an hour, and then, because you can get up and then go get a glass of water and then come back and look at it, or a glass of scotch, and then come back and fix it. Yeah. This is horrible. No! This is horrible. I suck. And then you pass out on your computer, and then you wake up the next day and
you're like, what are these letters? I don't know that. That does not make sense. Christopher Titus.
Why is there hashtags on this whole script? There's a character called question mark. What the hell is it?
I like it. It's been a pleasure. We're going to wrap up here on the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. GoLocal Live. Kate Nagel takes things over here in just a moment. Christopher Titus, you can go see him at Comedy Connection tonight, and then catch him again in Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Thank you
town.
so much
I'll give you some recommendations. We were there last weekend.
And sorry for being such a smart aleck.
I like it. I think it's funny.
Yeah, you were a little irritated.
Oh, no. I just have to watch what I say. All right, thanks for joining us
She
here.
balled up her fist. You didn't see it, but her fist was balled up. I'm telling you.
Oh, well, you know. All right, thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Molly O'Brien. Kate Nagel takes over here in just a moment. Have a good one. Just a moment. Have a good one. Just a moment. Have a good one. Just a moment. Have a good one.